A lovely morning. Hi, my name is FIRDAUS, a student from SMK Alam MEGAH. Maybe you can see me as a bookish person as I have read hundreds of books before. Here I have 5 books which is on my top list. There is Duet Me Not, As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow, Hikayat Raja Pasai, Kapal Terakhir di Dunia, and of course Displaced and Forgotten, which I will spend my entire 10 minutes to talk about it. Back when I was 10, my parents would talk simultaneously about a topic which was mixed with sadness and fear. As curiosity killed the cat, I began to know about refugees by surfing through the internet. Nevertheless, questions popped in my head. Why are refugees being mistreated? If that is the case, then why do they flee from their own birthland? Honestly, I am thrilled when I get the offer to freely and openly talk about this lovely book I have chosen, which is called Memoir of Refugees, Displaced and Forgotten. A random fact about me, I have never read a biography book before, nor I am interested in one. However, this book has grasped me and keep making me turning pages that results in me giving 5/5 ratings. This lovely book was edited by an awesome woman, Raudah Muhammad Yunus, who is also a co-editor for the Tales of Mother, The Greatest Love. Not to forget, together with her husband, Mahmudul Hassan, who is a literature lecturer, and the other 7 authors who are giving their full commitment in completing this book. This book is published by the famous Outsells Iman publication in April 2017. If you are thinking of owning one, you can get in Shopee for 22 and 50 cents ringgit Malaysia. The authors do an amazing job in making words to enthralling reading. Therefore, they have won bestseller in 2017. As you can see, this cover might make most people feel disturbed as they are children's muddy feet. However, this image tells us thousands of unspoken stories on how terrifying and awful the journey as a refugee. As someone who loves reading, this book gives me excitement as they use floppy material which won't make my book cover bend. It's a very simple yet neat design which I really adore. Even so, I kind of hope they make it hardcover as this paper book cover will easily be torn and ruined. The book is a compilation of refugees that have lived in Malaysia for months, years, and even decades. We could read their stories and honest interviews here. Not to exaggerate, but I love how the authors start off every chapter with poems that rhyme beautifully. Besides, there are 9 chapters, which equals to 6 stories and 3 interviews. As that was being said, I would love to tell you a number of shattering stories that might leave you overwhelmed and starry eyes. First story is about a girl who was born and raised in Arakan into a Rohingya family and thought it was her biggest crime she had to bear. They also received relatively less attention at school as they were being intimidated by the teachers. Why did she come here, you might ask? One fine day, 2 marriage proposals are waiting for her and her sisters here in Malaysia. The story continued with her experience in battling the waves and crossing the border illegally, which, if you read, shivers will run through your bone as how terrifying the journey was. Next story is about how refugees was being mistreated in a foreign land they live in due to the war that has spread in their own country. Even though it was a different story, he and his brother too decided to quit school after being treated nastily, along with the language barrier that they could not understand. The nightmares begin when the boy got locked in a cell with no window for 9 days. Imagine a 14 years old, a fresh teenager, got mental torture of not seeing the sun and separated from his beloved family members. How anguished I feel by reading it. The tales of persecution, exploitation, separation, and forced migration have taught me numerous values which make who I am today. However, I will pick randomly which morals that built me the most. First and foremost, who would not talk about their braveness to make sure they and their loved ones survive? From the youngsters who experience to the oldest who survive, they are all someone that I label as warriors. The trust they give into a stranger to make sure they have a brighter future ahead. The uncountable rejection, the worst curse and slurs they receive as a refugee was a miserable life that I could not imagine. Add to that, I also have a huge motivation to study and educate myself well. As I read their challenging life, I believe these political and government issues will be settled down easily if we create and educate leader that could lead a better world. Moreover, to be compared with them, I get it easier resources to learn. Therefore, I should not have any excuses to be lazy at school and fail at the test. To conclude, despite the age and sexuality, this book should be in everyone to be released, as I personally think their voices should be heard. Their arduous journey, their struggles in search of a place called home was enough to make changes in anyone's perspective toward refugee. Perhaps one day, the voices in the street will gather greater momentum in order to compel them to open borders to fellow human beings that in need of protection. And perhaps I will still stand here, still rooting for their freedom that they deserve.